Romelus, you are here today to test two men to determine the paternity of your son. You say that you were dating Mr. Seymour for the past 4 years, but then you cheated with another man.
Tonight, we're uncovering disturbing new details about a mother accused of shooting her 4 children, killing 2 of them.
We need multiple ambulances.
The person on the other end of that 911 call did not want to talk to the police. That is what she told them. She said she did not dial 911. She dialed the devil. That is not a line from a horror movie. That is something a mother in Texas actually told investigators after her 4 children were found shot inside her own car. 2 of those children did not survive, and what she said next, sitting in a police interview room, is the kind of thing that makes even hardened detectives go quiet. So stick with me on this one, because by the end, you are going to be asking yourself the same question I have been asking myself for weeks now. Was this a woman who completely lost her mind, or was there something far colder going on behind that story? If you are new to this channel, welcome. Let me know in the comments where in the world you are watching from, and if you have not already, go ahead and hit that subscribe button. Alright, let us get into it.
Every dollar I bleed it, my hussy erotic, a demon in them heels and my tongue real exotic. I'm the reason y'all fave can't keep up this melodic.
Picture a quiet gas station just off Highway 288 in a small Texas town called Angleton, about an hour south of Houston. It is not even 5 in the morning yet. The sky is still black. Most people in this town are fast asleep. A car pulls up to the pump. A woman gets out, and she starts pumping gas like it is any other morning. Except it is not. When the first deputy pulls in, moments later, what he sees stops him in his tracks. There, on the ground behind the car, is a small child's body, covered with a white sheet. Then another child, near the passenger door, barely inside the vehicle at all. Inside the car, it gets worse. A boy in the front seat, shot. 3 more children in the back, also shot. This is not a crime scene deputies stumbled into by chance. The woman standing at the pump called them here herself. And here is the detail that turns this whole thing on its head. She is not a stranger to these children. She is not someone who took them. She is their mother. Her name is Oninda Romelus, 31 years old, and in a matter of minutes, she goes from being the woman who called for help to the woman in handcuffs. Deputies get to work immediately, doing everything they can on the pavement, while more help races toward them. If you ever listen to the radio traffic from that morning, you can hear the panic underneath the professionalism. One responder just keeps repeating that they need more ambulances, multiple ambulances. Right now, 2 of the children, a 13-year-old boy named Okareo and a 3-year-old girl named Amura, do not make it. The other 2, 9-year-old Kylie and 8-year-old Traviel, are flown to a hospital in Houston, fighting for their lives. By Sunday, Sheriff Bo Stallman is standing in front of cameras, and even he seems to be struggling to find the right words. He calls it an unthinkable tragedy, an unimaginable one.
Yesterday, Brazoria County deputies responded to an unthinkable, unimaginable tragedy. This event has shaken our community, and we are all feeling the loss. While this remains an active investigation, I do want to share what details with you that I can at this point.
But here is the thing about this case. The gas station is only where the story became public. The real story started hours earlier and in a completely different place. And what investigators found once they started digging is going to make you question everything you think you know about this family. To understand how a family ends up here, you sometimes have to go back further than anyone expects. So let us rewind about 13 years. Long before any of this, Oninda Romelus was just a teenager in Georgia, somewhere near Atlanta, trying to figure out who the father of her baby was. She was not sure. There were 2 possible men, and instead of handling it quietly, the way most people do, she did something a lot of us have watched from our couches at some point. She went on a paternity television show. If you have ever seen one of those shows, you know exactly how exposed people look sitting in that chair, waiting for an envelope to be opened on live television. Oninda sat there with her infant son in her arms, waiting for an answer. The results came back, and neither man was the father. Not the first, not the second. The host tried to comfort her, told her this moment did not define her, that she just had to keep searching for the truth. Oninda cried. She talked about wanting to build a good life for her son. And then, like most people who appear on shows like that,
Ms. Romelus, you are here today to test two men to determine the paternity of your son. You say that you were dating Mr. Seymour for the past 4 years, but then you cheated with another man.
She walked off stage and disappeared back into ordinary life. That baby was Ocario. Now sit with that for a second. The same boy who once sat in his mother's arms on national television, before he could even talk, grew up to be the 13-year-old boy who was killed in that car. That is not a detail I added for effect. That is just what happened, and it is the kind of thing that makes this case sit differently in your chest. Life eventually brought Oninda to Texas, to a quiet town called Porter, just north of Houston. More children came along after that. Kylie, Traviel, and finally, her youngest, Amura. From the outside, nothing about this family looked unusual. Neighbors describe Oninda as quiet, someone who mostly kept to herself. One neighbor said the kids used to walk past her house all the time, and that her little dog loved them. She remembers seeing the children just 2 days before everything happened. Happy, waving, telling her they would see her Monday. Monday never came, and if you think this is simply the story of a struggling single mother who reached a breaking point, wait until you hear what was sitting inside her house. Because this is where the case takes a turn that almost nobody saw coming.
Seeing them Friday, and they were happy and on their way, telling us hi and bye, and figuring I would see them again Monday afternoon. Heartbreaking to think that anything could be so bad that you have to take your children's life. I don't understand.
After the shooting, investigators rushed to the family's home in Porter. Their first priority was actually finding a fifth child, Oninda's teenage son, who was not in the car that night and could not be located. What they found instead was something that looked less like a family home and more like the inside of a fraud operation. Investigators recovered dozens of identification cards, multiple social security cards, credit cards, treasury checks, packages of blank checks, still waiting to be filled in, printers and equipment used, according to one detective, exactly the way you would expect if someone were manufacturing fake documents. Here is the part that really gets under your skin. Some of those fake identification cards had Oninda's own face on them, just paired with someone else's name. Mail meant for other people, including government checks, had been arriving at her address for who knows how long. To be fair, no formal fraud charges have been filed over any of this, at least not yet. But you have to ask the obvious question. Where was all of this coming from? A single mother of 4, in a quiet suburban house, was apparently sitting on a small operation's worth of stolen identities. So now you have two very different pictures of the same woman. The quiet mom whose kids waved at the neighbors and petted their dog, and whoever was building this operation behind a closed office door, late at night, while those same children slept down the hall. Both of those people were living under one roof, and neither version prepares you for what happened next.
Searching this home in Porter Saturday, Montgomery and Brazoria County Sheriff's detectives found evidence of criminal activity unrelated to the child shootings. They seized dozens of social security cards, credit cards, and identification cards. Some identification cards had photographs of Oninda Romelus with names of different individuals, the search warrant affidavit says. The counterfeit identification documents were in various states of manufacture, bearing different names, states, and photographs. The search warrant also shows they seized this Tesla in the driveway to analyze its onboard video surveillance system. And investigators reviewed a neighbor's security camera, which captured the mother's vehicle leaving Porter about 2:39 Saturday morning.
Now let us go back to that terrifying night, because this is where the timeline gets hard to sit with. Around 2:30 in the morning, a neighbor's security camera across the street catches movement. Several small figures leaving the house and climbing into a car. In the pitch dark, while the rest of the street is asleep, more than 2 hours pass. Then, at 4:48 in the morning, 65 miles away, Oninda calls for help from that gas station. Investigators do not believe the shooting happened at the pump. All the evidence points to the vehicle itself as the actual scene, which means somewhere in those 2.5 hours, on a dark stretch of Texas highway, in the middle of the night, something happened inside that car that ended 2 young lives and nearly ended 2 more. When detectives finally get Oninda talking at the station, court documents describe her as visibly paranoid, glancing at the door again and again, like she believed someone was watching her. At first, she said she could not talk about it. Then she started talking. When asked why she called for help, she reportedly said something along the lines of doing it to them before they could do it to her. When investigators pushed for clarity, asking what exactly she meant, her answer, according to those same documents, was chillingly simple: kill them all. She allegedly told them her children were with the devil, that they were already dead to her, that nobody could take her without her taking them first. And then comes the detail that will stay with you long after this video ends. When asked again why she had called 911, she said she had not called 911 at all. She said she called the devil. Take a moment with that. What do you even do with a sentence like that? Is that the sound of a mind completely shattered by some kind of psychotic break? Or is it something far more deliberate, dressed up to look like madness?
We need multiple ambulances.
You can hear the officers' urgency as they uncover a tragic scene. 13-year-old Okero Covington had been killed, and 3-year-old Amara Chappelle also died in the back seat.
We're doing first aid. We're doing everything we can.
Officers rushed to help the 2 surviving children, 9-year-old Kyle Romelus and 8-year-old Traviel Donner. Both were airlifted to Memorial Hermann Hospital fighting for their lives. Meanwhile, their mother was taken into custody, and what she allegedly told investigators is chilling. When asked why she called 911, court documents said she told investigators, instead of them doing it to me, I'm going to do it to them. When asked do what, she reportedly replied, kill them all. She also told investigators she didn't call 911. She called the devil. She told detectives her children were with the devil. She went on to tell them they're dead. When asked what she meant by what she said, she replied, you can't take me without me taking you.
Fast forward to December of that year. Oninda has now spent 2 months inside the Brazoria County Jail. Her bond sits at $14 million, which tells you exactly how seriously prosecutors are treating this case. And then, unexpectedly, she agrees to sit down for an interview from behind bars. She looks straight into the camera and says she is not crazy. She is not a monster. She claims she left the house that night because she believed her ex was stalking her, and she was trying to get somewhere safe. Her car started acting up, she says, so she was driving around looking for a repair shop that stayed open through the night. Then, according to her, her oldest son suddenly snapped. She claims he had a history of psychotic episodes and had secretly taken guns from the house without her knowledge. In her version, he is the one who turned violent inside that car. When she is confronted with the alleged comments about the devil and the words kill them all, she denies every bit of it. She swears before God she does not remember saying any of that. She describes herself as a deeply religious woman who prays every single day. Here is the problem, though. Investigators have not found anything to back up her account. There is no prior record showing her son had ever been violent. Nothing in the evidence gathered so far supports her version of events. Even her own defense attorney had no comment when asked about her claims.
Well, it is a quiet scene out here in this Porter community now, but neighbors I spoke to tell me it was a much different scene on Saturday morning, with investigators collecting evidence from this house believed to be where 31-year-old Oninda Romelus was living with her 4 kids.
She had a beautiful smile like her dad.
James Chappelle lives in Atlanta, Georgia, and tells me 2 of the kids found shot inside a car in Angleton on Saturday are his grandchildren. One of them is 3-year-old Amari Chappelle, who lost her life. What was your reaction when you heard about her death?
I started crying immediately. That's my grandbaby.
Chappelle tells me an 8-year-old boy is also his grandchild. That boy is in the hospital.
This event has shaken our community.
Brazoria County Sheriff Bo Stallman held a press conference on Sunday afternoon telling reporters the suspect that left 3-year-old Amari and a 13-year-old boy dead, as well as an 8-year-old boy and a 9-year-old girl injured, is the kid's mother, 31-year-old Oninda Romelus. She's now being charged with murder and aggravated assault.
We believe that the evidence shows that this tragedy has occurred inside of the vehicle.
By early the following year, a judge steps in and issues a gag order, stopping Oninda from speaking to the media any further. Not long after, prosecutors take this case to its most serious level. They announce they are seeking the death penalty. Oninda now faces capital murder charges, the most severe charge on the books in Texas. If convicted, execution is officially on the table. No trial date has been set yet. And quietly, in the background, the investigation into all those stolen identities is still ongoing. As for Kylie and Traviel, the two children who survived, they are now together in foster care. After everything they have been through, at least they have that. At least they have each other. Here is where I personally land on all of this. There are people who look at Oninda's words in that interview room and see a woman in the middle of a full mental breakdown. Someone who genuinely lost her grip on reality that night. And there are others who look at that home office, full of stolen names and stolen faces, and see something far more calculated hiding underneath. Maybe the truth is somewhere in between. Maybe the trial, whenever it finally happens, will actually give us a real answer. What I do know is this. A baby boy once cried on national television, waiting to find out who his father was. That same boy grew up, waved at his neighbors, and never got the chance to grow any older. A 3-year-old girl never got the chance to grow up at all. And 2 children who survived are going to be carrying this night with them for the rest of their lives, whether they remember every detail of it or not. Whatever the full truth turns out to be, those children never deserved any part of this. If this story stayed with you the way it stayed with me, let me know down in the comments. And if you want more cases like this one, make sure you are subscribed, because we are not done telling stories that deserve to be told properly. Take care of yourselves out there. I will see you in the next one.